For she is a breath of God's power, a pure emanation of the glory of the Almighty. Nothing impure can enter into her. What if the clarity you've been searching for was never hidden in books but encoded within a sound humanity has forgotten how to hear? Imagine a vibrational key where mathematical precision meets the living intelligence of the universe itself. This is the essence of the emerald frequency. For centuries, this knowledge remained veiled, accessible only to those willing to look beyond surface appearances. Today I will guide you through both the origin and the practice of this sacred sound. You'll discover why it has the power to reorganize perception and how it helps shield your awareness from the constant distractions designed to pull you away from your true nature. If you're seeking answers that ordinary logic cannot reach, you're exactly where you need to be. Pause for a moment and observe where you are right now. What does your intuition tell you is most needed in your life? Clarity, peace, or purpose? Share your intention below, in your own words. The sound no one is meant to hear. Imagine that everything you've ever seen, heard, or felt represents only a fraction of reality. Beneath the constant hum of traffic, notifications, and endless conversation, there exists a deeper silence. Yet this silence is not empty. It carries a vibration so subtle that most never register it. It is the fundamental frequency, the baseline tone from which the universe itself resonates. The ancient Greek sages, especially the followers of Pythagoras, had a name for the source of this vibration: the monad. For them, it wasn't just a mathematical concept, but the point of origin of everything that exists, the zero moment before the Big Bang of consciousness. This idea of the monad suggests that nothing is truly separate. Think about it for a moment. The chair you're sitting in, the air you breathe, the stars billions of light years away, and even your most secret thoughts. Everything is connected by an invisible web of energy. This web vibrates in perfect harmony, a silent symphony that sustains all of creation. We've been taught to see the world as a collection of separate objects, but the truth is that we are all part of a single vast consciousness, a single song. The problem is that we've forgotten how to listen to that music. We live in a world that trains us to focus only on what is noisy and chaotic. We are bombarded with information, distractions, and worries that keep us on the surface of existence. This constant noise creates a static that prevents us from tuning into the deeper frequency of reality. It's like trying to hear a whisper in the middle of a rock concert. The whisper is there, but the cacophony around it makes it inaudible. This disconnection is the source of much of the emptiness and anxiety we feel, the sensation that something is missing, even when we have everything we thought we wanted. But what if it were possible to lower the volume of external noise and begin to hear that inner sound? What would happen if you discovered that this silence is not a void, but a gateway? A gateway to a dimension of reality where the rules of the physical world do not apply, where separation is an illusion and connection is the only truth. Accessing this frequency is not about having superpowers, but about awakening a capacity that already exists within you, dormant beneath layers of conditioning and distraction. It is the journey back home to your true essence. The search for this harmony is not new. Throughout history, many esoteric and spiritual traditions have spoken of this primordial frequency in different ways. They have described it as the voice of God, the sound of silence, or the music of the spheres. all pointed to the same truth. The universe is not a dead and random place, but a living and conscious organism vibrating with purpose and intelligence. And we, as part of this organism, have the capacity to align ourselves with this intelligence and consciously participate in the dance of creation, instead of simply being carried along by the tide. The question remains: if this frequency is the key to a deeper understanding of reality, why isn't it widely known? Why does this knowledge seem to have been hidden or reserved for a select few? The answer may lie in the secrets of an ancient and enigmatic figure, a master of wisdom who understood the architecture of the universe like no other. He knew that reality was not fixed, but a code that could be manipulated. An architect who left behind the blueprints of the universe, hoping that someone would be ready to decipher them and understand how everything was built. The architect of the universe. This architect of reality who held the map of creation is no ordinary figure. He emerges from the mists of ancient Egypt, a civilization obsessed with the mysteries of life, death, and the cosmos. His name is Thoth, the scribe of the gods, represented with the head of an ibis. For the Egyptians, he was not only the inventor of writing and numbers, but the guardian of all divine knowledge. Later, the Greeks recognized him as Hermes Trismegistus, the thrice great, a master of alchemy, astrology, and magic, whose wisdom was considered the source of all philosophies. Thoth viewed the universe in a radically different way than we do. For him, nothing was by chance. Every star in the sky, every pattern on a leaf, every beat of the human heart followed a precise mathematical order, a sacred geometry. He taught that the reality we perceive with our five senses is merely the external manifestation of an invisible plane, a structure of energy and vibration. In other words, the physical world is like an image projected onto a screen, but the real secret lies in the projector, in the source code that generates that image. And Thoth knew that code. He left behind a legacy of codified knowledge, most famously found in the legendary Emerald Tablets. These texts, shrouded in mystery, are not your average instruction manual. They are written in a symbolic language, suggesting that reality itself is a language not spoken with words, but with frequencies, forms, and vibrations. The central idea is that if you understand this language, you can interact with reality on a fundamental level. You cease to be a mere spectator and become an active participant in the creation of your world. This leads us to a striking idea. If reality is a program, then it can be hacked. Not in a malicious way, but in the sense of rewriting the parts of the code that are generating suffering, limitation, and chaos. The tool for this reprogramming, according to the teachings attributed to Thoth, is sound. He knew that certain sound frequencies, when applied intentionally, could resonate with the geometric structure of the universe and cause changes in the material world. Sound would not just be a wave in the air, but a key capable of opening locks in the very structure of space-time. This ancient wisdom is beginning to find echoes in modern science. Quantum physics shows us that at the most fundamental level, everything is vibration. The particles that make up our world are not solid objects, but patterns of energy vibrating at different frequencies. The idea that consciousness and intention can influence reality, once considered mysticism, is now being explored in experiments like the quantum observer effect. Thoth was, in a way, millennia ahead of his time, describing the universe as a symphony of vibrations. But the work of Thoth the architect, seems incomplete. To heal this ancient wound of separation and answer Sophia's call, desire alone is not enough. A tool is needed, a specific vibration that can serve as a bridge between our material world and spiritual wholeness, a frequency that can resonate with our imprisoned soul and remind us of the melody of our true home. This tool must combine the order of Thoth with the passion of Sophia, structure with life. And it may be hidden in a concept that unites ancient wisdom with a specific color, the color of healing itself, the color that heals. The journey to find this healing vibration leads us to a fascinating concept, the emerald frequency. This name was not chosen by chance. It creates a powerful bridge between two currents of wisdom. On one side, we have the tradition of Thoth Hermes and his legendary emerald tablets, which contain the secrets of the universe's structure. On the other, we have the emerald green color, which in many esoteric and energy healing traditions is intrinsically linked to Anahata, the heart chakra, the center of unconditional love, compassion, and emotional healing. The heart chakra acts as a balancing point in our energy system, connecting the three lower chakras linked to the material world with the three upper chakras linked to the spiritual world. When this center is blocked or unbalanced by traumas, fears, and resentments, we feel disconnected from ourselves and others. The color emerald green is seen as the vibration that can cleanse and reactivate this center, allowing the energy of love to flow freely, healing emotional wounds, and restoring inner harmony. It is the color of nature, life, and renewal, and here the connection becomes even more specific. There is a real sound frequency measured in a laboratory that seems to correspond to this healing vibration. It is the frequency of 528 Hz within the ancient sacred solfeggio system. This note was known as Mi, and its intonation was associated with miracles. The name Mi comes from the phrase mira gestorum, which in Latin means miracle. Modern researchers have dubbed 528 Hz the frequency of love, and have even associated it with DNA repair, suggesting that it has a profound regenerative effect at the cellular level. The emerald frequency, therefore, is more than just a sound or a color. It is an alchemical concept. Alchemy was not just about transforming lead into physical gold, but about the transmutation of human consciousness. It was about taking our basic, dense, and fear-filled nature, the lead, and transforming it into an enlightened, golden, and awakened consciousness. The emerald frequency would be the vibrational tool for this transmutation, the catalyst that accelerates the process of purification and elevation of our being, beginning in the heart. The transformation begins when the heart starts to beat at a new rhythm, a rhythm that corresponds to this emerald green vibration. It's an experience many describe as a feeling of warmth and expansion in the chest, a release of old sorrows, and an overwhelming sense of connection with all that exists. It's as if a door long closed opens in the center of our being, revealing a space of peace and love that has always been there but was inaccessible due to the noise of our emotional wounds. This healing vibration, which resonates with the color of life and the frequency of love, seems to be the missing key. It has the power to mend the fracture caused by Sophia's fall, healing the pain of separation in our own hearts. But for the healing to be complete, it is not enough to simply feel. Emotion needs to be integrated with reason, intuition with logic. Sophia's energy needs to unite with the structure of Thoth. And this sacred union, this alchemical marriage, is what gives rise to a code that was considered forbidden for a long time. What happens when the perfect structure of the universe represented by Thoth meets the living and passionate wisdom personified by Sophia? This is not merely a union of two mythological figures. It is the symbol of a process that needs to happen within each of us. It is hierogamy, the sacred marriage between two seemingly opposing forces that together create totality. It is the fusion of mind and soul, of logic and intuition, of the divine masculine and feminine that exist within us all. Regardless of our gender, Thoth represents logos, the logical and structured mind. He is mathematics, geometry, the pattern that organizes the cosmos. He is the left hemisphere of our brain, responsible for analysis, language, and linear thought. Without this structure, the universe would be pure chaos. Sophia, on the other hand, represents gnosis, intuitive wisdom and feeling. She is life, consciousness, the experience that fills form with meaning. She is the right hemisphere of our brain, the source of creativity, empathy, and holistic vision. Without her, the universe would be a cold, purposeless machine. We live in a society that overvalues the Thoth aspect. From a young age, we are taught to be logical, rational, and to suppress our emotions and intuition, which are seen as weak or unreliable. This disconnection from our inner Sophia is the cause of profound imbalance. We become trapped in our minds, overanalyzing everything, disconnected from our hearts and the wisdom of our bodies. The result is a meaningless life, a relentless pursuit of external success that never fills the inner void. The forbidden marriage is an act of rebellion against this imbalance. The forbidden code that emerges from this union is not something evil or dangerous. It is forbidden because it has been suppressed by control systems that prefer to keep us divided and weak. This code is the key to integration. Certain combinations of sound frequencies, such as the emerald frequency, are believed to act as a catalyst for this process. They help create new neural bridges between the left and right hemispheres of the brain, allowing logic and intuition to begin working in harmony rather than in conflict. When thought becomes feeling and feeling becomes thought, something magical happens. The mind stops fighting against the heart. Intuition begins to guide logic, and logic begins to shape intuition. This is what psychologist Carl Jung called the individuation process, the journey to becoming a complete and integrated individual. A door opens at the center of our being, and we begin to experience the world no longer from a divided perspective, but from a unified center of consciousness. And the first sign that this door is truly opening, that communication between the two worlds is being reestablished, can be a very common physical phenomenon, something that millions of people experience every day, but which is usually dismissed as a medical problem or a simple irritation. A subtle sound that, in fact, may be the first call from your higher self, a sign that your internal antenna is beginning to pick up a new transmission, the sign you didn't know you had. Have you ever been in complete silence and suddenly heard a high-pitched buzzing in your ear? A thin, almost electronic sound that seems to come from inside your own head? For most people and for conventional medicine, this is called tinnitus or ringing in the ears, and it's often seen as a symptom of hearing damage or a neurological problem. It's something to be ignored, treated, or at worst endured. But what if this explanation is only part of the story? What if this sound is actually a signal? In the journey of awakening through the monad frequency, this phenomenon is completely reinterpreted. It ceases to be a defect in the system and becomes a characteristic. The buzzing is interpreted as a sign of spiritual attunement, an indication that your nervous system and your energetic body are beginning to vibrate at a higher frequency. It's as if your biological antenna is being calibrated to pick up transmissions from higher dimensions. And the high-pitched buzzing is the sound of this recalibration, the noise of the process of downloading new information. The secret vehicle of consciousness. Now that your inner senses are awakening, the journey deepens. It's no longer just about perceiving reality in a new way, but about learning how to navigate it. For those seeking the next level of conscious evolution, there is an ancient and powerful concept known as Merkaba. The word Merkaba is Hebrew and can be divided into three parts. Mir means light, K means spirit or individual consciousness, and Ba means body. Together they describe the spirit body of light, an interdimensional vehicle. The Merkaba is not a physical spaceship that you build. It is a field of electromagnetic and crystalline energy that already exists around your body, but which in most people is inactive and dormant. It is described as a sacred geometric form composed of two intertwined tetrahedrons, three-sided pyramids that rotate in opposite directions. When activated, this energy field creates a vortex, a portal that allows your consciousness to travel beyond the limitations of the physical body in three-dimensional space-time. The monad frequency in this context is presented as the vibrational fuel, the sonic key that starts the Merkaba engine. Just as a car needs an ignition to start, our vehicle of light needs a specific resonance to begin to rotate. The practice involves the use of sound frequencies combined with breathing techniques, meditation, and visualization to generate the energy necessary to activate the counter-rotating fields. It is a process that requires discipline, focus, and above all, an open and pure heart. The journey with the Merkaba is not a trip outward to distant planets in physical space. It is a journey inward to the inner dimensions of consciousness. It is the ability to access higher planes of existence, to communicate with higher versions of yourself, to receive knowledge from universal sources, and to explore the vastness of your own being. It is the experiential understanding that you are not just a physical body, but a multidimensional being rooted in many different worlds and realities. Activating the Merkaba is a crucial step towards spiritual sovereignty. It means you no longer depend on external sources for information or guidance. You become your own portal, your own oracle. You learn to consciously travel during sleep, to explore the Akashic records, the universal library of everything that has ever happened, and to connect with your soul family. It's the transition from being a passenger in life to becoming the pilot of your own evolutionary journey, consciously navigating the cosmos. This is the final step to freeing yourself from a prison that most people don't even know exists. A prison not made of iron bars, but of limiting frequencies and beliefs. Activating your personal light vehicle is what allows you to transcend this control matrix. As you begin to operate from a dimension that is beyond its reach, and to fully understand this prison, we need to talk about the code that keeps it functioning and the entities that created it. We have reached a crucial point in our journey where we need to talk about the forbidden code. This code is not forbidden because it is inherently evil, but because it contains the knowledge to liberate us. And this knowledge has been deliberately hidden. To understand why, we need to go back to Gnostic teachings. They spoke of entities that govern the material world, the archons, which in Greek means rulers. These are not physical creatures, but parasitic consciousnesses that operate from dimensions close to our own. According to the Gnostics, the archons created a kind of virtual reality, a matrix of illusion, to keep humanity asleep, ignorant of its true divine origin. Their goal is to feed on our emotional energy, especially low vibration emotions like fear, anger, guilt, and despair. They are the masters of mental manipulation, the whispers in our minds that tell us we are not good enough, that we are alone, that life is meaningless. They are the voice of the negative ego, the programming that runs in our subconscious. This matrix isn't made of wires and computers, but of limiting beliefs, social programming, and dissonant frequencies. From the moment we are born, we are bombarded with these frequencies through the media, the education system, and social structures. We are taught to compete instead of collaborate, to consume instead of create, to fear instead of love. The whole system is designed to keep us in a state of survival, exhausted and distracted, so that we never have the time or energy to look inward and discover who we really are. The monad frequency, when finally decoded and integrated, acts like a powerful computer virus that breaks the operating system of this matrix. It raises our personal vibration to a level that is beyond the reach of the archons. They simply cannot connect to a consciousness that vibrates in love, joy, and peace. The frequency acts as an energetic shield that makes us invisible to these parasitic influences and dissolves the invisible chains that bound our mind and soul. Liberation happens the moment you realize that the chains were never real. They were made of sound, of vibration, of beliefs that you accepted as truth. When you change your internal frequency, the chains lose all power over you. You stop reacting to the provocations of the world. You stop being a puppet of your own negative emotions, and you begin to respond to life from a place of sovereignty and inner peace. You regain your power of choice. This liberation from archetypal influences is what allows us to take the final step on our journey. Once we are free from the chains of fear and manipulation, the path is clear for our full reintegration with the Source. It is the return home, not as the fragmented being that departed, but as a complete, conscious, and sovereign being who has learned the lessons of separation and is now ready to become a conscious co-creator of reality. At the end of this long and transformative journey, you don't return to the starting point. You don't go back to being the person you were, full of doubts and fears. You ascend to a completely new state of being. The monad frequency, which at first seemed like an external concept, a mysterious sound to be sought, now resonates from within you. It has become your own inner melody, the song of your soul, finally attuned to the symphony of the universe. The search is over because you realize that the treasure was always within you. This is the state of full gnosis, the integration of everything you have learned and experienced. It is the profound understanding that every step of the way, every challenge, every moment of pain, and every revelation was perfectly orchestrated as part of a divine plan to lead you back to unity. You look back and see the hand of universal intelligence in every detail of your life, realizing that nothing was by chance. The separation, the pain, the search, everything was part of the soul's journey to self-knowledge. In this state of consciousness, the duality that once governed your life begins to dissolve. Good and evil, light and darkness, success and failure. Everything is seen as part of a greater dance. You stop judging yourself and others, understanding that everyone is at their own stage of the journey back home. Your consciousness expands beyond the limits of your personal ego and begins to embrace the totality of being, feeling a profound connection with all forms of life. The promise here is not a final destination, a static paradise where nothing else happens. It is entering a continuous state of alignment with your divine blueprint, the original design of your soul. It is living in a constant flow of grace, synchronicity, and inspiration. Life doesn't become free of challenges, but you face them with a new perspective, seeing them as opportunities to grow and further expand your consciousness instead of obstacles that hold you back. The frequency now lives within you. It stands as a quiet reminder of your true nature and your limitless potential. You no longer need external tools because you have become the instrument itself. Through intention, thought, and emotion, you learn to attune your own frequency, stepping into the role of conscious architect of your reality. You haven't uncovered a hidden code of the universe. You've remembered that you are the code. The journey now comes full circle, yet life continues, experienced from an entirely new level of awareness. You move through the world as a living beacon, not by teaching or convincing, but by embodying what you know. Your presence alone, resonating with love and unity, gently awakens those around you. In this way, transformation spreads naturally, rippling through the shared field of consciousness. By returning to yourself, you help light the way for others to remember their own path home. Reaching this point confirms the sincerity of your search. The balance between Thoth and Sophia has found its resting place within your own intuition. As you reflect on your life right now, what truth has this frequency revealed to you? Share your insight in the comments, in your own words. I look forward to reading each reflection. If this experience brought value to you and you'd like to support the continuation of this work, you'll find a support link pinned at the top of the comments. Your contribution allows this knowledge to reach more seekers. And if someone came to mind as you listened, share this video with them now. The flow of wisdom continues. I've selected the next video on your screen to help you take the next practical step today. I'll see you there.